Hello there. Good to have you with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. I'm Jerry Usher along with Debbie Georgiani. Thank you for tuning in to EWTN. Lots of papal coverage. We've been covering, of course, the passing of Pope Francis and the time in between the election of a new pope, which is the Cardinals are gathering, Debbie, starting today. So it's something we need to be lifting up very seriously and fervently in our prayers.
Absolutely. And you see a lot of that on social media asking for prayers for the Cardinals. So definitely with that. But today we do have a topic. We are live today, and we do expect our Take Two family to weigh in on the topics that we provide. And so here it goes. Okay. So listen up a little bit and see what you can share. We're talking about letting go of the things we once loved to do. Okay, letting go of the things we once loved to do. And Jerry's going to share a little bit more in depth of this topic, but I really want to encourage you to think about it for a moment and then definitely call in. You don't have to be Catholic to call in. It's 833-288 EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. And Matt is at the phones. He's ready to answer your call. Michael's at the controls. Rich is on social media. We are waving to everybody. Hi, guys. Get the chats going. Thank you. So, Jerry, let's go into a little bit of this topic, things we once loved to do.
Well, I got to thinking about this because I think in all of our lives, usually it's age related. We reach a certain age. Like for myself, for example, I remember the year, I don't remember the exact day, but the year I played my last game of basketball, and I finally had to say, you know what? I just can't do this anymore, So maybe Take Two family, you're listening right now, and maybe there's been an activity, a hobby, maybe you've moved away from an area and you had to leave something behind. What is something that you got to a point in your life where you had to give up or let go? That is what we're talking about today. And as always, what you share on this program is going to help a lot of other souls and maybe really maybe provide somebody with some peace and consolation because maybe they're grieving over having to leave something behind, but what you have to share could be a little bit of a consolation to them. So here's how you join the conversation. You always do a great job in making this show what it is every day. It's 833-288 EWTN, 833-288-3986.
Or maybe you have an illness or a medical condition that caused you to let go of something that you really love to do, a hobby or a sport or an activity of something of that nature. I know it may seem silly, Jerry, but just to add to the conversation, I absolutely loved riding roller coasters. Loved it. Mm-hmm. I used to get so excited about going to the amusement parks and riding the roller coaster, and even the ones that were really detailed with the loops and the twists and turns, not just the standard going up and going up and down with a roller coaster, but kind of the ones that really made your heart pound outside of its chest, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't do that anymore. I had to let go of that with the vertigo and now the eye problems and all sorts of things. It's not recommended at all that I go on a roller coaster. And that's kind of a bummer because, you see those amusement parks and you're like, I remember the days that I just used to, buy a ticket and jump on the ride. And it was so much fun and the adrenaline rush. And it's like, nope, no more. So, it does, but I can relate. Yours is much more, I think, closer to you with the basketball. But that, and Marty had the same situation because he played basketball all through high school and college. And when he played his last game, he was on a senior group. Right. It was like, I can't do it anymore, Yeah. So that's tough.
Yeah, these things are maybe you're dealing with this decision, this quandary right now in your life. Take Two family. Maybe you've been thinking about something. Maybe you've reached a point in life where driving. Maybe you have to, leave the driving to somebody else, or maybe you've been through that already. If you have, give us a call. Share with us. Maybe it was a hobby. Again, it could have been a sport. Maybe it was I don't know. Maybe your eyes have betrayed you a little bit, and now you can't really read like you used to once be able to read. read. There are a lot of things, a lot of directions we can go with this topic here today. Debbie and I could fill this whole hour probably sharing things that we've had to leave behind, but we want to hear from you. You're the ones who make the show what it is. Lines are filling up right now. There are still a couple that are open for you, so you get right through and speak with Matt Gubensky at 833-288 EWTN, 833-288-3986.
But I think when you have to leave something behind, there's always something that you can look forward to. There's always something you can replace it with, right? Something maybe that's even better for you spiritually. So I've said this many times, and especially in life coaching, Jerry, that when we have to, or we're forced to leave something behind, instead of feeling down and depressed and feeling like, wow, I'm getting older, I can't do this anymore, we can turn our attention and look forward of the adventure that is to come. What do you say to that?
No, I think you're absolutely right. What's the saying? When God closes a door, he opens a window, or God has always got other opportunities for us. So, yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. What about, here's another thing, don't want to make this about me, but I had to leave my best friend, my little good boy Duke, behind in California when I moved to Orlando to be a seminarian. So maybe you've had to leave a relationship or, a beloved pet or an animal or something.
Or your home.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's another one right there. What is something you've had to detach from or let go of? Make that sometimes hard decision. 833-288 EWTN. We're going to get right to your calls when we come back. 833-288-3986.
EWTN podcasts are available on Audible. Weekday shows from the Sunrise Morning Show through Ave Maria in the afternoon are there. Plus, the latest weekend programming. You can find it all on the Audible app today.
Here is today's quote from Mother Angelica's perpetual calendar. I am not like a pebble on the beach, a grain of sand on the seashore, or just one of millions of human beings past, present, and future. No, I am a unique human being loved by God, as if I were an only child. Mother Angelica's perpetual calendar with her reflections is available at EWTNRC.com. That's EWTNRC.com.
On the next Beacon of Truth, looking at the fourth Sunday of Easter and Soulful Psalm 89.
I'm Deacon Harold Burke-Sivers, and I invite you to join me for Beacon of Truth.
Carry the faith wherever you go. Watch your favorite EWTN show, series, or special, or listen to your favorite EWTN radio program at any time, day or night. EWTN On Demand brings all your favorites instantly. Download the EWTN app at EWTNapps.com today.
Spreading the good news of salvation.
This is EWTN Radio.
We're asking the question today, what did you have to leave behind in life? Maybe because you had an illness, a change of situation, a life situation, a life change, all sorts of things that could make you think about what you had to leave behind or let go of. And so if you have something to say about this, please call in 833-288 EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. Okay, before we get to the phones, Jerry, let me just share with our listeners about an ebook about Marian novenas. Beautiful. Features novenas to the Blessed Virgin Mary that reminds us of her love for her spiritual children. All you have to do is visit EWTN.com/Annunciation today for your free ebook. Okay, that is beautiful. I love different novenas. And Marian novenas, I think, are so powerful, especially in this day and age, Jerry, where we count on Our Lady to come in and really help, fix the mess. Help us with situations, right? With relationships and things. And, it's amazing how many times our listeners, the Take Two family, have leaned on the Blessed Mother, and she has definitely come through for them.
Amen. All right, who would like that last remaining open phone line? 833-288-EWTN. It's 833-288-3986. It happens to all of us. It's probably happened to you. When have you gotten to a point in your life where you had to let go of something you loved, leave something behind, maybe make a change of some sort in your life from one thing to another? 833-288-3986. We're going to start with Lou, who is in Queens, New York, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Lou.
Hi, Lou.
Hi. Hello. Hi, Debbie. This is your friend Lou from the spirit world.
I know. Hi, Lou. I was hoping it was you. You go right ahead.
Okay. Yes, my entire life I spent in law enforcement, 30-year career. Started out as a drug counselor and went into law enforcement. And I had to give that up because I was diagnosed with ALS 17 years ago, 16, 17 years. And my whole career was everything, my whole life was based around my job and education and all that. And, yeah, it was tough to let go, but when I didn't have that any longer to me, I was really blessed with the Holy Spirit. I really became more focused on God and my relationship to God, and I was able to really increase my faith and do Bible studies, and I just spent the last 16 years educating myself as much as possible, and taking all kinds of courses online and things like that, and it's been a blessing because I feel that even though I felt at the time in criminal justice that was the be-all and end-all, it really wasn't. God opened my eyes up, and I was able to do something completely different.
Well, Lou, you talk about making that initial adjustment when being diagnosed with ALS. And by the way, that's a very tough disease to be diagnosed with. So, our hearts are with you on this, and we put you, obviously, you're always in the prayer book, Lou, but, especially with this. Yeah. But you talk about the adjustment. What I find so interesting of what you said is, oftentimes when you talk to somebody, when they do a life review, they'll say things like, God removed something so that it can be replaced with him. And it's exactly what you just said. You replaced this thing that happened to you that now was taken away, or it now becomes a void in your daily life, your routine, now was replaced with things of God. So how beautiful is that, Lou? That's incredible. And that's honestly what we all should be doing. We should actually actively be removing things so we can replace those things with the God component, which I think is much more powerful for all of us, especially on the journey back home to God. What do you say, Jerry?
Yeah. Well, no, I agree.
Absolutely, because you cannot, what I thought was important, and it's like, it's a joke to me now because I even laugh to myself and say, boy, I worked in the federal system. I dealt with high-powered lawyers and judges, and, I had a really nice career going. But you know what? When I turned to God, and I wasn't out of fear or anything, it's just like, this is God was said, look, don't worry about it, Lou. Just get in there. You don't have to worry about finances or anything like that. Thank God. I don't have to worry about anything like that. And I'll tell you, I start my day off praying the rosary. I'm reading the Council of Trent, the Catechism book. I had bought my series of the Summa Theologia. And I'm just like, I'm so immersed in my faith that every minute of the day I find an opportunity. I look for opportunities to talk to other people about the faith, and it's just a beautiful thing. And it most of the time it works with people. It's like they're interested. They're also in that same situation, but I almost have a pity for them because they're so wrapped up in the world that they can't really expand too much. They should. I don't know how. That's a complicated issue for everybody on an individual basis, families and children and things like that,
Well, you know, Lou, sometimes it takes something like your diagnosis to make that happen in people's lives. So, you know, you've got a beautiful perspective on this. And what came to my mind was, you know, how maybe you would not have experienced all of this fullness of faith and spirituality that you're experiencing had this not happened to you. And I, for whatever reason, my mind went to St. Ignatius of Loyola, you know, who had his leg, you know, almost blown off with a cannonball, ended up in the hospital and rehabilitating and wanted some books to read and read the lives of the saints, and his life was completely turned around. Now he's a saint, you know, and would he have chosen that path? Perhaps not. You know, Lou, would you chose your path? Probably not. But, you know, God brings good out of everything, as the Bible says, and this is just another, your life is a beautiful example of that, Lou.
Thank you. You know, it's a real testimonial for me on a personal basis. And people say to me, well, you know, and I have ALS to the point where I'm able to function still independently. You know, I mean, I use a walker to get around. I'm still able to drive, but I'm very, you know, very hinky. I just do like local things. Mm-hmm. That's why when I call the station, I'm in my car because I have the Sirius radio in my car. So that's why I'm not home, you know, calling from home. Otherwise, I'd probably be there. But I go to Mass, you know, and I had a great Lent. And I'll tell you, talking to Debbie and Adam on the Spirit World is a major plus on Saturdays for me because I get to talk about the faith and things related to the faith, which are very fascinating, which you'll very seldom find that conversation with anybody that's really not in that, you know, in-group type of thing.
Well, thank you, Lou. That is so sweet. And the Spirit World is on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. And we do appreciate that you do call us and share with your input and your wisdom and knowledge. And Lou, I think you started the conversation off beautifully. And we have a lot of other listeners that have just lined up to get on air with us. And I hope they share from their hearts as well, because I do think that what you said is exactly the golden nugget that we needed to hear today, that when things are removed and it's out of our control, or we decide to remove them ourselves, Jerry, God should replace that, and that's a wonderful thing.
Thank you, Lou, for the call. Appreciate it. We're talking today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie about something you have had to let go of, leave behind when you reached a certain, maybe it was age-related, maybe it was health-related, maybe it was, you know, just, you know, logistically. 833-288-3986. Okay, Maria is next in Ashtabula, Ohio, listening today on Roku. Hi, Maria. Thanks for joining the conversation.
Hi, Jerry. It's
Hi, Maria. How are you?
Hi, Maria.
Oh, I'm hanging in there.
Good. So what do you have to share with us today?
I have to make an adjustment of moving from one part of town to another.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I have a brother that lives there who has epilepsy and has the real bad seizures, and I was kind of like using him for a reason not to move, and it was getting harder to maneuver myself around in that particular apartment, and I was having issues with the landlord, so I finally let go.
Okay. So you had to move away from your brother, Maria? Is that what you're getting to here?
I kind of grew up in that part of town.
Oh, okay. Well, that had to be.
So it's not an easy adjustment for people that don't see well.
Yeah. No. Well, that's a big letting go on your part, Maria. You know, we talk about things, certain things, you know, are of higher or greater significance or meaning in our lives and other things. And, you know, if you had to move away from at least a little ways away logistically from your brother, that had to be, you know, a very challenging, you know, move for you to make, I would say.
Yeah. Moving away from people and loved ones, that can be very tough. But it sounds like you've adjusted well, Maria, and we appreciate you weighing in on this conversation today. Thank you.
Oh, I just moved in Sunday.
Oh, you did? So it's relatively new.
I'm asking for prayers because I got to get myself adjusted again.
Okay. Well, you've got those prayers. That you can be assured of. Okay. So we definitely take prayers seriously, Maria. So we hope you feel those prayers, and also go to your guardian angel to help you with the adjustment, because they're wonderful at that.
Oh yes. And I've been asking my late parents to pray for me.
Nice. Very nice.
All right.
Well,
Good
good deal.
Deb.
No, I was just going to say, good deal, Maria. I just want to let you know we have you in the book. I brought the prayer book out, Jerry.
All right, very good. Thank you, Maria, for joining this discussion today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Michael's been holding patiently in Tacoma, Washington. He is a listener to Sacred Heart Radio there in the Pacific Northwest. Hi, Michael. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Just fine, yeah.
Awesome. You know, what comes to mind for me as I listened to your discussion was the word reconciliation. And you mentioned on another caller the journey back to God. And, you know, it made me think of many times in life where the challenges are presented through two beliefs that we're trying to reconcile, right? What we can no longer do and really what we can do. And in that space, I think, is the reconciliation process across, you know, physical, mental, biological issues that we have in our life.